Well, hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Squared Circle Radio live here on the YouTube channel, or if you're listening on podcast, welcome to your favorite podcast. My name is Chris Belcher. That is the young buck, Andy York. And Andy, we're back to this European schedule and for the next month, and Raw is going to be early and SmackDown's going to be early, but we're going to be right on time.
Yeah, I completely forgot they were in Germany. So when you texted me earlier about Raw, I was like, oh yeah, we're live early today.
Yeah, that is it's interesting. It's certainly tough to get used to. You and I were texting about the spoilers that we get from SmackDown because it airs at normal time on USA, but it airs on Netflix normally for Raw. So it's interesting to try to navigate those waters. It'll be interesting for the Royal Rumble. It'll be interesting for WrestleMania next year. All of those kind of things. But you and I have talked about it. Heck, man, pay-per-view on a Saturday at 1:00, you got the whole day ahead of you.
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right, we appreciate you guys being with us at this special time. Normally we go live right after Monday Night Raw, but Andy and I have lives and we can't do that. So here we are on our regularly scheduled time and Monday evenings. We appreciate you being with us. If you're new to the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like what you're hearing, like the video. It helps us very much, helps the algorithm. Show some love to SportsWire Radio. We appreciate their support so very much. They even put us in the Hall of Fame. I'm still not sure why they did that, but they did it. And here we are. City Kitty is joining us live in the chat. If you are live in the chat like City Kitty, you got comments, you got questions, you drive the conversation. Drop those comments in the chat and we will get to each and every one of those. But Andy, as I like to say each and every week, I've got pages and pages of notes and I got plenty to talk about if the people in the chat just want us to roll right along. And what we got to talk about, Andy, is what was on the thumbnail of the show. I did an instant reaction show the other night as soon as SmackDown went off the air in the States. 3 stages of hell for the WWE Championship. And wouldn't you know, by hook or by crook or by Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre is the new undisputed WWE champion. Again, I did an instant reaction. It's available in the archives in the YouTube channel. Go to the live section. It's there. Go check it out. But Andy, it's too big of a story to only talk about on one show because we all sort of wanted it to happen. We all sort of wanted them to pull the trigger, but we said, oh, they never will. They never will. But Andy, they did. So before we look at what's to come, what was your initial reaction when this happened?
So my initial reaction was I was thrilled because I think this is something that a lot of people have been wanting for a while is Drew to actually get a proper championship, title run. I did not know this until I saw it on social media that this is the first time that Drew has held a world title to the end of a show as champion in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
And that is ridiculous. That it's taken this long to get to that point for this man.
Yep.
I'm proud. Like I'm so happy for him. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's something different that was needed for both him and for Cody. Mm-hmm. I think that there's some hesitation that comes along with this as well. We'll talk about what comes down the line for both these guys. But the moment itself, the match itself was awesome. I thought the match itself was absolutely killer. I got real nervous when Jacob Fatu showed up because I was like, here we go. This is how they make him lose the title without him actually losing the title, and that can be the big feud going forward. But they didn't, and so I'm very, very thrilled about that.
Yeah, it was the finish was super creative. We're going to talk about Gunther and AJ Styles in a few minutes. Another creative finish. So I was interested. I was hooked, man. And when it happened, it's like, okay, you literally have flipped WrestleMania on its head, which is fine. There's still a way that Cody gets the title back. There's still a way Cody gets back in it. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. But Andy, if for nothing else, Drew McIntyre is the WWE champion for a European tour. And the title can be defended and Cody can go home for a little bit. If nothing else, we found some success on the European tour and you saw the social media videos of Drew cutting that promo in Glasgow, his first show as champion. in his hometown. But yeah, like you said, long overdue. Dude hasn't held a world championship in front of people for more than 5 minutes. And it's awesome to see how they'll turn the page, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I think it's, Drew is one of those guys that he was the guy that carried Monday Night Raw through the pandemic era. Like
Yes.
he
did.
made that show watchable, because everything else on that show was not watchable. But everything Drew did, him and Bobby Lashley, those two guys were the guys that really carried that show for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns heel and some things change, and then he goes into this feud with Punk, which was absolutely one of the best feuds that WWE has done in the modern era. Probably the feud of the year that year. Drew was probably the wrestler of the year in some ways that year.
Yes, he was.
And then he was off TV for a long time. Momentum really got halted. We didn't know what was going on with him. For him to get back to this moment to where, not even just as a heel, but just as a character, for fans to get that much behind him, to want him to get that title, to switch everything up before WrestleMania. I think it goes to show it wasn't just a swerve decision just to shock everybody, but he truly earned it and truly got that moment. So like I said earlier, I'm so happy for him. I'm so excited to see. I hope it's a really extended run. I'm not talking years upon years, but I hope it's not just to get the title back to Cody somehow. I hope there's something else down the pipeline for him.
Yeah, you and I talked about that last week and how it just it would be meaningless if it was just to drop the title back to Cody at Rumble or, whatever. But Dr. Durst, who is a frequent visitor of our chat, he was in the chat on Friday night when I did the instant reaction show, and he brought up the same thing about Drew. You just mentioned Drew being a heel. He brought up the fact, can Drew be the face of the company? And I said, or the baby face, the kissing babies and the, visiting the kids and whatever. I said, yes, absolutely. All he got to listen. We all know that a good heel just tells the truth. They tell the truth from their side, but they tell the truth. All he's got to do is flip 3 or 4 words, say something a little bit different. Look, when WWE tried to have Charlotte be a babyface after the Royal Rumble, after she won, we all know how that went. Okay. But the way they did it was they just spun her accomplishments in a babyface way. They just spun her character just changed the tone of the way she said stuff. And they could do the same thing for Drew.
Well, I think even for a guy like Drew, I don't think he has to change to be a babyface.
True, he doesn't. You're right.
In a lot of ways, I think it's very similar to MJF when he turned face. He didn't really change who he was, and we loved him for it. That's what makes people love certain characters. That's what makes people. That's why it should not work for Cody Rhodes to be as popular as he is, because he is the old school traditional white meat babyface that doesn't really translate in modern wrestling in a lot of ways.
You're right.
But then you flip you change the subject, and if you talk about guys like Drew McIntyre, you talk about guys like Kevin Owens, they're the kind of the same baby faces as they are heels.
Yep.
And that's why we love them. It just depends on who they're doing it to.
Yep.
So I think that's a massive part. I don't want Drew to be a baby face that is always, telling jokes and kissing babies and everything else. I like the Scottish warrior, the psychopath that wants to go in there and claymore somebody's head off. I think that's the version of Drew that everybody loves. And so I think you're absolutely right. I don't think they have to change much. I don't think they have to really change anything at all. I think they just let him be him, maybe play to the crowd more than beat against the crowd.
Right.
But don't change anything.
Yep. For sure. Leave Drew who he is. And that's what has earned him the respect that he's gotten over the last couple of years. And I mean, I said it on the podcast last week that he's so good that he doesn't need the championship, but this is rewarding the hard work that he's done for the last 2 years. I think both in the company's eyes and in the fans' eyes. So let's talk about moving forward, because we know that a fatal 4-way at Saturday night's main event will determine Drew McIntyre's championship contender at the Royal Rumble. It's Randy Orton versus The Miz. It's Trick Williams versus Matt Cardona, Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa, and Ilya Dragunov versus Sami Zayn. Now, I hope Andy, that Cody Rhodes, I mentioned a few minutes ago, does not somehow find his way into one of these matches and ends up facing Drew at the Rumble.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Cody in just a second, but I said it on the instant reaction show because my first thought was, okay, what's next for these guys? Because you and I speculated, what could Drew do leading to and at WrestleMania as champion that could be more captivating than QB1, the face of the company, as your champion? Well, I don't know what it is at WrestleMania just yet. But Andy, if I had to pick his Royal Rumble challenger, it's Sami Zayn with a bullet 100%. That's
I'm kind of torn between three.
Okay.
Just because I think Sammy's one of them. Just because I think he's one of those guys, and I kind of hate it for him. He's in the Kevin Owens spot of, we have a world title match at the Rumble, throw them in.
He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, throw him in there. He doesn't need. We don't want him in the Rumble because if he's in the Rumble, people want him to win.
Nope.
Put him in the world title match. He'll lose. We'll have something for him in Mania. I feel like that's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' career at this point, which is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think Sammy's a great choice. I think for history reasons, Damian Priest would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Agree
because who's the guy that took the title off of Drew last time? Well, It was Damian. And
That's
so, Drew can say, now you don't have CM Punk to be in your corner to help take the title from me. So you got to do it on your own. I think that's a good way to also kind of build Damian back up a little bit.
Yep.
My personal pick is Randy.
Okay.
Just because I don't know if we've seen a lot of Drew and Randy, first of all.
Well, Randy did beat him for the title during COVID. And then Drew beat him again. That was Randy's last championship, was he beat Drew. But again, it was during
COVID. I thought Miz cashed in.
No, Miz cashed in on Lashley. And then Lashley squashed him.
Gosh, that whole time
I know.
Just jumbled together for me. But so there's history there too.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, because remember, we thought, you may not remember, but we thought we were going to get Randy Roman at Survivor Series, and then they switched the title back.
That's right.
And we got Drew and Roman.
That's right. I remember that now. But I still think Randy, they have they have history. I think Randy's a great way to bring Cody in at the same time without having to put the title back on Cody, even at the Rumble, even past the Rumble. So I would personally probably pick Randy to be the guy to face Drew. But Damian and Sammy are awesome backup options, I think, too.
Yeah. The reason that I love the Randy pick, and that's who we said last week. It's well, that's the obvious choice for Drew to face. Probably his first challenger is probably Randy. That makes sense. Do I want to see it at WrestleMania? No. Don't want to see it at Rumble? Sure. That's fine. But I picked Sammy because I don't want Sammy to win the Rumble. I do not want to see Sammy win the Rumble and go to WrestleMania in a main event spot. I just don't. I just don't. But you have the Saudi factor. You have all of that. So what's the best way, if you're not going to turn Drew babyface right away, what's the best way to get heat on Drew McIntyre? Beat Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia for the world championship. That's what I would do. Because again, the Saudi Arabia stuff, you don't really lose anything. You can take more chances. Let's positive spin on it, Andy. You can take more chances when you go to Saudi Arabia. And I think with Sammy, you could probably do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too, but I also think you want to have a big match for that Saudi crowd too. Mm-hmm. And they love Randy. I mean, they love Randy. Right. So I don't think you can go wrong with either option.
Yep.
I can kind of see Sammy being the Iron Man for the Rumble this year.
Okay.
And being in there for a long time, but not win, maybe not even make it to the Final Four, but he's the guy that's in there for a really long time just because, again, that Saudi factor that goes into it. But, again, I don't think you can go wrong with Randy or with Sammy. I think either one And there may even be a scenario where that turns into a triple threat. Like I think you could throw all three of them together if you really wanted to.
Yep, that's very true. All right, speaking of the Royal Rumble, we talked about the winner of the main event of SmackDown. Now let's talk about the loser, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, no longer the WWE champion heading into WrestleMania season. It just feels strange. I mean, I popped this picture up earlier. Cody Rhodes without that championship just looks weird, Andy. It just looks strange, but we got to get used to it. What's next for Cody? I'll be honest, Andy. I keep him off TV to the Rumble. I don't even have him appear at all. He's in the Royal Rumble match. And the way that I said it the other night, this is the way I'd book it. He's the final two in the Royal Rumble, and he gets chucked out by Roman Reigns at the end. That's what I would do.
I think that's a great way to do it. I personally would not have him in the Rumble.
Okay.
I think the best, like if we get Drew Randy, I think Cody could come out to try to help Randy and accidentally cost Randy.
Okay.
And then that's how we get to Cody Randy going into WrestleMania. We don't have to put Cody in the Rumble because I'm gonna be real honest with you. I don't think a lot of people want to see him win 3 Rumbles. Like,
no,
I think
it's
way too soon. I don't either. But I do think it's one of those maybe that happens earlier in the night, and then during the Rumble part, Randy and Cody are still in the Rumble, and Randy eliminates Cody, and then they have that tension going forward between the two of them too. So I think there's more build up, which is weird to say. I think there's more build up with Cody without the title.
Yes.
To not be in the Rumble, but to be factored into that world title match. And then that way you can always circle Cody back to the world title at any point in time. Even if, Randy and Cody's not for the title at Mania, that's something that you could even revisit at SummerSlam and put those two guys back together.
It's interesting. I said it a minute ago. It's interesting for Cody Rhodes to be without the championship. It's also interesting to me that Cody and Randy would have a match at WrestleMania without the championship, because as I flash this picture up on the YouTube screen, that's what Randy's been after for the last year. We've talked about him looking at it and this, that, and the other and whatever, but it's interesting that you would put them in a WrestleMania match without the championship. But having said all of that, you just said it. This is the most interesting thing that could have possibly happened going into WrestleMania. Like, the possibilities for Cody Rhodes right now, we've talked about Nick Aldis. We've talked about Randy Orton. We've talked about Roman Reigns. We've talked about filling. There's a world, Andy, where Cody wins the Elimination Chamber match and he goes after CM Punk, not Drew McIntyre. Like, I wouldn't do that.
No, but there's also a world where Punk's not even world champion walking into WrestleMania.
Well, that's true. We thought that he was going to be, he's going to lose that title last week, but he did not. City Kitty in the chat. Let's get to a couple of these comments. Thank you guys for being with us. Family time for Cody. Yeah, let's just give Cody a little bit of family
time off.
Yep. I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize. Tigar Laga, even if Sami Zayn does enter the Rumble, he's not winning it. The road may be Sami Zayn challenging Drew in a losing effort, since the former's got a name in the Middle East. Absolutely. Sami Zayn probably headlining Rumble and Saturday night's main event. Yes, because again, Saturday night's main event is where, Andy?
Yeah.
Montreal, where Sami Zayn lives.
And I think you could do Sami and Drew there. Like, I think that's
the Montreal match, the Saturday night's main event, is the fatal 4-way to determine the challenge.
Oh, that's right.
For the next week. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, then, oh man, yeah, I guess that would be Sami probably winning then.
Yes.
Although they do love having him lose in Montreal.
That's true. They do. That's true. My favorite, no offense to City Kitty, my favorite member of the chat, Aaron Grisham, is with us. Thank you, buddy. I was going to text you today and ask you if you were in San Antonio, but we can offline that. Not enough talk about MJF breaking the walls down, to be honest. Well, you missed the MJF talk. Andy just mentioned him 3 minutes
ago.
I'll
talk about MJF again.
Listen, we're not going to talk about MJF. I'm telling you, let me circle back to this Cody Royal Rumble thing, and then we'll move on. I know maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't be in the Rumble. We both agree. We just said it, that he should lose. He should not win the Royal Rumble for a third time in 4 years or 5 years, whatever it is. But I love the idea of having him and Roman finish the Rumble, because you've now put another chapter in this book. You're continuing this Survivor Series stuff that you built from, that we thought we were going to get a world title match, and we still may, but you're able to continue that, and maybe they hold it off till SummerSlam. I don't know. But I think that's just a good way for them to have a match without having a match.
Yeah, I also think if they're not going to do, because again, next year WrestleMania being in Saudi.
Yes.
If Roman Rock is not an option, they're probably thinking the next best thing is Roman Cody 3.
For sure. Yep.
So we may be even pushing this off for another year or so.
Right.
Before we get to that. So I think building tension, throughout the entire year, like we did, in War Games, and then maybe it's them in the final 2. Maybe the final 3 is Roman, Cody, and Randy, and we've got some tension there, or anything like that. I think something like that is probably going to be the case. I may be in the minority here, and I'm fine if I am. I don't necessarily want to see Roman and Cody again right now.
Right.
I think both of them are better off without each other than facing each other.
Sure. Now we just said, hang on real quick. We just said that Cody Randy might be strange without the title, because we didn't think that there would be a point. I mean, they can tell a story, but Cody Roman is even more strange of a singles match without the title, because that's what the whole feud's based on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I think the paths right now are kind of clear for both guys. Of Cody's more than likely going to have something to do with Randy going into Mania. And I think Roman Drew is such a wild way to have a world title match at Mania that I don't think a lot of people thought about, because that's, 4 or 5 years ago, would we have seen that? Probably. But like now, it's not something that a lot of people would think that they would see. Right. So I think that would be a great way. I think there's also, a fun one, and it's out there. What if Punk loses the title next week to Finn? We can all dream, right? We can all have a dream that Finn's going to be a world champion. And Punk wins the Rumble. And we go back with Punk and Drew for the WWE Championship.
Oh, I love that.
Like, I think that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yep, I love that. Aaron with a comment there. We'll see Cody and Roman in the new Street Fighter movie. Yeah, and they'll probably... We'll see what happens with that. But we didn't.
But they said they're never going to team again. So their promotion won't be together.
I know. Roman lies. Not Cody lies this time. It's Roman lies.
Yeah.
It's Roman lies. All right. Solid dream booking, Aaron says in the chat. Thank you. Aaron, if you're in the chat, chime in with us. City Kitty and Aaron hanging out with us. We appreciate them. We appreciate all of you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do so. It helps us a ton. Andy, quick notes from SmackDown really quick before we get to Monday Night Raw that happened earlier today. We saw 2 debuts, in-ring debuts on Friday Night SmackDown. Trick Williams defeating Rey Fenix, and then Jordynne Grace getting a squash win over Alba Fire, or seemingly a squash win, and then a confronting from Jade Cargill. Andy, we talked about it last week, man. The future of SmackDown is bright, and with these 2 signees getting big wins, and again, Trick Williams is one of the 8 vying for the world championship, and the women's world champion just confronted Jordynne Grace. You strapping a rocket to him already.
Yeah, and seeing what they've done in NXT, I don't know why you wouldn't. I will say I died laughing when Trick knocked that.
I just died laughing at Aaron's comment. Nobody read this. I'm taking this off the screen. Come on, Aaron.
Go ahead. But I started dying laughing when Trick knocked that mic out of Randy's hand, and it clearly hit somebody. Like, it clearly hit a fan because he jolted for a second and then went back to being the game face. I think it's great for both of them. I think, Trick's one of those guys that, is he the best in the ring? No. But is he charismatic? Absolutely. I think he's going to have the WWE Universe eating out of his hand the whole time. And then Jordynne Grace. Like, Jordynne Grace is just, a specimen of her own in a lot of ways. If anybody's going to go power for power with Jade Cargill, it's going to be Jordynne Grace. Do I see her winning the title soon? Probably not. I think they're probably going to feed her to Jade just to kind of build that up even more. But I'm excited to see what they do.
Listen, I just said the same thing about Stephanie Vaquer, but she won the title in her first track, so you just never know, I guess. All right. Good stuff, man. It was a wild Friday night SmackDown. Got one in, I think, London coming up this Friday, so it'll be an earlier start time as well. So we'll be covering that for you next Monday. Again, we're live Mondays after Raw, but for the next couple weeks, we will be at this normal, probably 10 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure that you're locked in, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell so that you know when we go live. All right. You don't have to hit the notifications bell when you listen to us live on Sports Wire Radio. Tom Bryce and the crew play us all the time on the station. Make sure you hit that listen live button on Sports Wire Radio if you haven't already. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And let Tom Bryce tell you just a little bit more about the other content you can hear here on Sports Wire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck, because Sports Wire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, with great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows; New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska; the Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip; Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind; Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, Sports Wire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org, and you can also catch Sports Wire Radio anytime on YouTube at Sports Wire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. Sports Wire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on Sports Wire Radio. I am your host, the owner of Sports Wire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
All right. Thank you to Tom Bryce for all you do for Squared Circle Radio, including inducting us into the Sports Wire Radio Hall of Fame. Still such a cool thing. Well, if this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to Squared Circle Radio. That is the young buck, Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher, and Aaron Grisham popping us in the chat already. I want that bro to hype me up before walking into the DMV. Listen. Oh, bringing that Tom Bryce energy, big Tom energy into the DMV is that might be a little much there, but I would expect nothing less from Aaron Grisham walking into the DMV. That is for sure. If you are just now joining us on the YouTube channel, you can drop questions, drop comments in the chat, just like Aaron, just like City Kitty, and just like all those others who are hanging out with us. Again, if it's your first time, hit the subscribe button. If you like what you're seeing, we would appreciate that so very much. Andy, on Monday Night Raw, Monday Day Raw, earlier today from Germany, a wild main event. AJ Styles and Gunther for the very first time. Andy, was it everything you wanted it to be?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I loved it. I still loved it. My number one thing coming out of this match is, please don't retire this year, AJ. Like, you still have a lot left in the tank, it looks like, because my goodness, some of the things you're still doing is ridiculous.
Dude, the bump he took off the top when he took the chop was just nasty.
Like the springboard leg drop. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, that was like my number one thing is like I really don't want AJ to retire anytime soon. I get if you want to do it your way, that's fine, but buddy, you still have a lot left to go, it looks like. But everything else about the match I thought was solid. It may not have been I think what's hard for these kind of matches is the commercial breaks just kind of break the flow of things for some of it.
Yeah.
But everything that we saw, everything that was going on, I really, really enjoyed what it was.
I was the first thing that I said when the match was over. I'm like you. I'm like, AJ's doing some crazy stuff in this match, and it was so good. The first thing I said was, please don't let this be the only match.
Yeah.
Please give me another round of this, another 2 rounds of this. Yeah, if you would, please. That would be great. Dr. Durst back in the chat with us. No way AJ would win in Germany. He says, absolutely not. Like we knew the finish of this match before it was even booked. Hopefully he'll get one in a rematch or something. Dr. Durst also says they got to screw the babyface out of the win. Listen, Andy, let me just give you a perspective of me watching the end of this match. So AJ's got him in the calf crusher, right? And I'm just watching whatever. And he pops up and he says that he tapped, right? And in my mind, I'm rewinding 5 seconds. I'm like, wait a minute. That camera did not show Gunther's other hand. It was that way for a reason. And the next thing I know, low blow, power bomb, 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, oh, that was so creative. That was so good. And then Andy, Michael Cole says, we have an alternate camera angle. And I literally jumped up and down, was like, yes, this is perfect. They did this so well. And the fact that Gunther did not tap on the mat, he tapped on AJ's leg. I mean, it was so good, man. I loved it.
I love it, except for one thing. It's going to bring back the stupid you tapped out chance.
Oh yeah, probably.
But this time it'll be different. It was not because Jay tapped him out. It was it's completely different. I love the finish. It had me hooked when it happened. I was highly confused at first of like clearly he didn't tap. Like, what is going on? And the way commentary sold it and everything, I thought was done great.
Yep.
I really think that this is probably going to be 3 matches throughout the year. I mean, this was the first one. Probably sometime after Rumble, probably sometime after Mania, we're going to run it back again. Maybe where AJ gets the win. And I still am a believer that Gunther is the guy to retire everybody and could be the one to retire AJ. So I think they're going to spread this out throughout the year. But I hope you're right. This is not the only time that these two are going to wrestle each other.
Well, maybe it's not that Gunther specifically retires AJ. Maybe this is a 3-match series. Maybe the next one is at Elimination Chamber and AJ can get the win at Chamber. And then maybe instead of retiring AJ, he beats AJ in his last WrestleMania match. Yeah. Then I don't know who AJ would retire against. Maybe Balor or, somebody like that. I don't know, but maybe it is Gunther because the commentator is trying to put over this career killer moniker. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but all that to say, yes, please don't let this be the last one. Like, I need these guys to go out. Like you said, Andy, just when you think that AJ Styles is coasting to the end of his career, he's a tag team champion, he's doing favors and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes and does this.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Kind of makes me mad that he's been in the tag division for so long.
That's true.
Why are we not getting him on TV more? And, why has he not held a world title again in a long time? A long time.
I mean, heck, give me AJ Styles versus CM Punk. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Give me AJ Drew. I think that's fun.
Yeah. I don't know if you've listened or any of our listeners have listened or not, but AJ and The Undertaker did a breakdown of their Boneyard match on Taker's podcast. If you haven't listened to it, Go listen to it. It's incredible. There's one scene that if you watch the YouTube version, there's one scene that they show. It's an outtake where Undertaker almost falls off the roof of the barn.
Oh, wow.
And Carl Anderson catches him. And because apparently the roof was metal and it had gotten wet because it was like 3:00 in the morning or whatever. But anyway, so peek behind the curtain of the Boneyard match. But anyway, in that podcast, Taker compares AJ to Shawn Michaels. He says, this is as close to Shawn as we're going to get.
Yeah.
So, and that was just a couple of years ago. I mean, yes, it's 5 years ago, 6 now, I guess, but still, AJ, like you said, man, he's got a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, he really does.
All right, let's pop this comment up here. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering your name. Tigar Lagas, the match should be a loser leaves Raw match. That would be good for AJ's retirement instead of a tour. I agree. Maybe not specifically a loser leaves Raw match, but just so that we don't have the tour thing. Because I think the tour's never been done before. And if it were me, Andy, I'm never doing it again. Like it's a John Cena thing, and just be done with it.
Too much pressure, and outcome's probably not worth it. So I think just doing it just to do it. You never know when his last date is. You never know when his last match will be.
And that's sort of what AJ has said anyway. If you listen to him in interviews, he's like, I don't really want you to know when my last match is. I just want to wrestle it and be done.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what he'll end up doing. But I like having a stipulation like that kind of attached to it of, maybe it's not loser leaves Raw, but maybe it's, since he is Shawn Michaels, like we could do, if I can't beat you,
I'll retire.
I'll retire. If I can't beat you, maybe he does it. Like maybe he does that twice. And because the first time we're all thinking, oh, well, he's probably going to lose and he's retired, and then he wins, and it's like, oh, he's he's still AJ. He's still doing his thing, and then something happens later on down the line where it happens again, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really creative way to do a retirement tour without having to put so much on it.
Agreed. Yep. I definitely agree. All right, we talked about CM Punk. We mentioned Finn Balor. Let's talk about the world title picture and, of course, Bron Breakker, which we'll get to in a second. Andy, CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the championship on Raw next week. I know I was excited when Finn Balor's music hit and he interrupted Punk today. I can't imagine how excited you were when that happened.
Oh, yeah. I was very happy. As long as something comes from it. Like, I'm not saying he has to win the title Monday, but we can't just put him in this spot because he's going to be in his quote hometown crowd, and then he falls by the wayside again. Something needs to come from this push again.
Yeah. Is it too soon though to have Punk in a big time match and skirt by the skin of his teeth and then Balor beats him?
I mean, I think it's a possibility. I'm not counting Finn out completely. But I don't know if we've already got one world title change heading into WrestleMania season. Are we going to get another? And especially two on TV. Like, are they going to switch both titles on TV? I think there's just a lot, that makes us think that it's not going to happen, which means it's probably going to actually happen because it's going to be the shock and awe of it. But again, if Punk loses, it's one of those that maybe he loses because Bronson Reed gets involved or because somebody else gets involved. And then the world title is kind of back in that kind of Judgment Day vortex. And maybe maybe WrestleMania this year, it's Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio for the world title. Like, I think there's a lot of options that you could go through.
Wow.
That's not just the same four guys kind of regurgitated, but adding some new pieces into it.
I mean, all we're talking about is the guys on the WrestleMania promo: Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and you're talking about Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor for the World Championship at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. I agree with you that something needs to happen. I don't know what that thing that needs to happen is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to walk into Finn's hometown and Punk's going to get booed and Punk's going to walk out as champion. And then what do you do? It's just like, I don't know. Let's get to this comment again from Tigar. Remember when Triple H Batista WrestleMania Triple H put his career on the line. The one that ended up putting his career on the line was Batista. Yeah. So it was WrestleMania 35. I was in the building. Great match. A lot of fun. Went on about 5 to 7 minutes too long, but it was a lot of fun. That whole event went on 5 to 7 minutes too long. But I digress. Yeah, it was a fantastic match. And you could easily do some sort of AJ career versus, I don't know, whomever. Yeah. I think you definitely could spin that for sure. Dr. Durst saying what we've been saying for a long time. Andy, it's the vicious cycle. The Judgment Day due to implode. Well, just when you think they're going to, they find a way to get stronger. I don't know why.
I don't know. Just drop the bomb on them.
And
get it over with.
It's not just stronger. They get more compelling and they suck you back in. And you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually like that, you know?
Yeah. And then, about 6 months from now, we're going, man, they should have broken up.
Yep, that's it. Oh, man. Well, let's talk about the third piece of this world title picture currently, I guess, on Monday Night Raw. And Andy, it's Bron Breakker. And I look back as WWE Unreal Season 2 premieres next week, which, by the way, Andy and I will work out something to where we get you a bonus episode where we talk about that, because just like last season, we're going to binge watch it. I know we are, and we're just going to get on here and talk about it. So we're going to get you, a day where we're going to get on here and do that. But just like Unreal last year, where Triple H met with Jey Uso, said he's going to strap a rocket to him, and Jey Uso lost the championship match to Gunther at Saturday night's main event, and a week later he won the Royal Rumble. If you're building new stars in 2026, Gunther just lost the world championship match to CM Punk. What better way to strap a rocket to him than to come out and almost beat the absolute crap out of Adam Pearce and go absolutely crazy? Dude, that segment was so good. They did that so well.
Yeah, and it's going to be even it's going to build up even more when he eventually probably spears Adam Pearce out of his boots.
I'm so glad they didn't do it today. I'm so glad that they just ease us into it. Oh, so good.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, we've talked about a lot of world title possibilities. Who's to say Bron Breakker is not in that world title match against Punk?
That's right.
I think that's a really big possibility for him to be in there. I think no matter what, whether it's for the title or not, it's probably going to be Breakker versus Punk at Mania, unless Seth Rollins is coming back some way, somehow.
Right.
I'm leaning towards that being the match that we see, just because we've been building it, that way. Because Punk's out here talking about he's done with him. I don't think he's done with him. I think it's probably going to get dragged back down. So you can
say you're done with somebody anytime, and then they're just gonna drag you back in.
So I could see that being a real possibility for Mania for Bronson, or Braun. Another one, man, I'm still hung up on a Bron Breakker versus Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
I think the two matches that we'll end up going to see is either going to be Braun versus Brock, or Brock versus Gunther at Mania. I think those are. Oh no! One of those two is happening.
Save Brock and Gunther for SummerSlam because it's in Brock's hometown,
and it's probably retirement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Career killer.
But it would be. I mean, it would be wild if Bron Breakker was the one to retire Brock at SummerSlam for the world title. I think that's another possibility too. There's just a lot of. What's nice about this year is there's so many different branches that it could go off into.
Yes.
That it's not predictable. I think that's the most important part about this year is it can't be predictable, because the last couple of years have kind of been predictable for good reasons, not bad reasons. But it's nice going into Rumble and Mania season, not really knowing what the outcome could potentially be.
And it's all good things too. It's not branches that were like, oh, I definitely don't want to see that and don't do that. It's like, I can get behind what you're doing, Let's get a couple of these comments from Dr. Durst. Appreciate you being here. How was Pearce back in the day? Can't recall. Multi-time NWA champion, right, Andy? I mean, he was a good hand, as they would say. I mean, he wasn't the greatest of wrestlers, but for as big as he is, he was a good wrestler.
Yeah, he was what we would probably just call fine. Like, yeah, he could go out there and do something, but he was nothing. He's no Nick Aldis if we're gonna say that.
Right. Yeah, it's easy to compare, I guess. Okay, so real quick, let's fantasy book this. And I'm going to get your other comment, Dr. Durst, in just a second. Let's fantasy book this for a second. You said, and I believe it, there will come a day where Bron Breakker is going to spear Adam Pearce. We know that's going to happen. Then what? Like, what's the payoff here? Because I do not believe the payoff is for Pearce to get in the ring to face Bron Breakker. I don't.
No.
So what do you think the payoff is here? If it ties back into Seth Rollins, how? Like, how would it make sense for that to be the payoff? Maybe it's not. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What do you think the payoff is?
I mean, if we're going to try to put the pieces together to make it make sense, I think what you could do is have Braun spear him. He's off TV for a while. And then, Pearce can come back 1 week and say, you know what, since you did this, since you want to play games, next week you have a match. You don't know this. You don't know who you're facing, and you don't know the stipulation. And if you lose, then you're fined, or you're suspended, or you're fired, or X, Y, or Z, whatever the case is. And then maybe the person he handpicks is Seth. Yeah. Of like, hey, who's the guy that probably hates Breakker as much as I do? Probably Seth Rollins. So let me put him out there, and then I think that's a way that you could add them together, have them go together. I think what also would be really interesting is because the last thing Heyman said to Pearce was, "You touched him first. You put your hands on him first."
Yep.
If there was a way, and I'm kind of twitching a little bit because it's giving me flashbacks. If Pearce somehow, not necessarily willingly joined, but was forced to be a part of the vision and do what they wanted from the GM side of things. Don't let it be anything like the Authority, because please don't do that again. But you could do something like that, and then maybe he breaks free one day, or maybe he just is beaten up, and this is how we get Pearce out of the GM role, and we put somebody else in there. I think there's some ways to do it. I don't see a world where this ends with Bron Breakker versus Adam Pearce.
Absolutely not.
Could be Adam Pearce versus Paul Heyman, and you know what? I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I think it'd be interesting.
That would definitely be interesting. I'm running through scenarios in my head as you're saying that he picks an opponent for him. He doesn't know the stipulation as a way to stick it to both Heyman and Breakker. The obvious answer is Seth, but what if it's Brock? And that's how you get Brock versus Bron Breakker. Put him inside a steel cage or something, and you bring Brock in, and Heyman is freaking out like, Brock, how could you do this to me? Blah, 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 whatever. That could be cool. But I agree. There's no way Pearce is getting back in the ring. But on the GM front, dude, he is one of the best GMs of all time. Like, I believe that. He really is. I know it's a fake authority figure, and I know blah, 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 whatever, but he's one of the best of all time. Here's an interesting comment right here. Does Heyman ever want to have Pearce's job? That could be your twist right there, Andy. If Pearce is out for an extended amount of time, what if Heyman pseudo takes over the GM role, but he's, not really, he's just whatever. That could be interesting. He's done it before. Man,
it sounds like a storyline somebody did, on a fantasy booking podcast a while ago, if I remember correctly. But I don't know who done that, who thought of that. I think that's a possibility. You talking about Brock coming in and them having a match or something. Back in 2014, I think it was, when Paul turned on Punk, they had a Hell in a Cell match where it was Paul Heyman and Ryback versus Punk.
Oh yeah, that would have been 13, right?
13 or 14, I think 13 or 14, because he left in 14, so it'd be
Punk
13.
Left early in 14.
Yeah. But you could do something like that where maybe it's like Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker versus somebody, and then Brock's music hits, or Seth's music hit.
Yep.
A wild one that's out there because they also have a history together. Roman's music hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I think there's just a lot of, you have to have somebody that's tied to both of them, and that is going to make Paul Heyman cry. I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one more from Dr. Durst here, and this is I'm going to read this, and I will be as politically correct as possible. But there's also just a real answer to this. Okay.
Yeah.
He says, why do you think Lesnar is so rare to show up? Go ahead.
Legal reasons.
You go. For those of you who may or may not know, I'll say this lawsuit that Vince McMahon is tied up in, Brock Lesnar is joined at the hip with him, so to speak.
Which is wild that he's even been on TV within the last.
It's wild that he's on TV. I don't know, but we're not going to touch that side of things. What I will say from a Brock Lesnar side of things, though, is him rarely showing up is not new. From the time he returned in 2013, Brock's not on every week. And Brock shows up when Brock shows up, and Brock's what we call in wrestling a special attraction. And he showed, he's part-timer. Shows up for Rumble, shows up for WrestleMania, shows up for SummerSlam, maybe for War Games 4 to 6 times a year, and that's it. We keep the mystique of Lesnar where it is. So
yeah. And I mean, listen, it's nice now because he doesn't have a world title with him. So it's it's nice when he just pops up and shows up and gets these big matches. He's 1 for 2 because the War Games was fun, but the Cena match still is just bafflingly dumb, stupid, dumbest thing I've seen. But I think they want him gone sooner rather than later.
Yes, I think there's a reason that he's back now.
Yes,
I think there's a reason that SummerSlam is in Minneapolis and it lines up perfect.
And I'm telling you right now, they're in Saudi next year. He's your headliner because you can do his Hall of Fame speech there, and you're not going to get pushback from anybody.
That's fair.
So I think that is, that's a real possibility.
Yeah. Tiger's still in the chat. In his opinion, Lesnar rarely showing up is dated back to when he first left WWE for the Vikings, since he didn't like the pro wrestling lifestyle, and it still shows today. I mean, when you're Brock Lesnar and you're an owner of a company like Vince McMahon, who is willing to do whatever it takes to get the contract signed. And I'm not talking about what they're going through right now. What I'm talking about is Brock can make a demand and Vince is going to let him have it because he wants him to sign on dotted line. So Brock probably said, yeah, I hate the lifestyle. I'm going to show up 20 dates a year. And Vince said, sweet, here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Brock says, okay, I want to show up 5 dates a year. Here you go. And it is what it is. When you have that much star power in the world of wrestling and you carry that much aura, you call the shots, brother. And I won't go as far, Andy, as saying that Brock Lesnar has earned the right to call the shots, but Brock Lesnar calls the shots for Brock Lesnar.
Well, I mean, when he came back in 2012 or whenever it was, I think it was 2012.
I think it was 12. I said 13 earlier. I think it's 12.
Yeah. When he came back, it was a big deal because, when he left, he was very vocal about not really wanting to come back. The whole debacle with him and Goldberg at WrestleMania 20 getting booed out of the building and everybody hating everything.
That was in 2004. That was 8 years prior.
Yeah. So, I think it's just one of those that when he decided to come back, they were going to do whatever it took to their own demise, let's be real honest.
Sure.
To make sure he came back. I mean, how many times did we hear going into WrestleMania season, Roman's winning this one because Brock's contract is up? Roman's winning this one because Brock's leaving. and then he would always win and never leave. So I think it's just, he was that special attraction during those years. Think you could split it 50-50 of some of it was really good, some of it you wanted to, grab your TV and throw it out the window. But it is what it is. I don't think that they want that anymore.
Right.
And I think they just want to quietly have his career come to an end, celebrate him, and then move on.
Dr. Durst, I understand with other guys' acting careers, what does he do in all that free time? Well, Brock has a farm. Brock likes to be by himself. Brock did butcher work part-time for a little bit. I don't know if he still does that or not.
He made some seasonings too that were really good.
Yeah. So Brock's an interesting cat.
Probably, roiding it up a little bit.
Well, listen. Okay. So for Dr. Durst, and for those of you who might not be familiar with the personal side of Brock Lesnar, I highly encourage you, go find the interview he did with Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show. And this was, what year was that, Andy? That was during the Cowboy run. So 22?
22. I think it was right before WrestleMania 38.
In Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's call it 22. Go look it up. It's on Pat McAfee's YouTube channel. It is highly, highly fascinating.
So funny.
Highly entertaining, especially when Brock breaks the microphone, and it's hilarious. It's so funny. So go check that out. All right. That is longer than I expected to go on this podcast, but we're having a lot of fun, and you guys kept the conversation going. We appreciate that so very much. We are here for you every single Monday after Raw, most of the time directly after Raw, but again, for the next couple of weeks, it will be at 10 o'clock Eastern on Monday nights. And then, Andy, if the internet breaks again this week and somebody else loses the championship, we might be right here on this channel giving an instant reaction. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the notifications bell, because Andy, as I said last week, not only are we on the road to the Royal Rumble, the road to WrestleMania begins in January, and we are putting the pieces together for the show of shows this year.
We are. And it's going to be a fun Mania.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think it has a lot. I think it can really easily live up to the expectations of last year's Mania in a lot of ways. And so I think it's going to be a fun build. I don't really know where we're heading, which is the fun part. So, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I do want to say, because I forgot to mention it last week, and I hate myself that I forgot to mention it last week.
Oh no.
One of the greatest New Japan wrestlers retiring in Tanahashi. For those that don't watch New Japan or didn't watch a lot of New Japan during that run, he was often referred to as the New Japan John Cena, of just the babyface, the hero. Everybody loved him.
Sure.
Everybody wanted to wrestle him. One of the best in ring, one of the greatest talent to go through there. He retired this past weekend, or two weekends now.
2 weekends ago.
But he was a real one. He was awesome.
Yeah.
The ceremony that they did afterwards, I don't know if you've seen anything from it.
No.
But they brought out Ospreay was there, Jay White was there, Kenny came out. Just a lot of guys that he wrestled throughout the years. Naito showed up. Just several guys kept coming up and hugging him and doing the tradition there. So shout out to him. He had an amazing career. If you don't know him, go check him out. Go check out some of his matches on YouTube and stuff. They were always amazing.
Yeah. Tanahashi was certainly one of those guys in New Japan that I enjoyed watching for sure. So shout out to Tanahashi for hanging it up at the same time as John Cena. Ironic that they call him the John Cena. Makes sense. All right. Again, we appreciate you guys being with us. If you're just listening on a podcast, just make sure you're following on whatever podcast platform that you are listening. And shout out to SportsWire Radio for playing our show and for inducting us into the Hall of Fame. We appreciate it. so very much. All right, we're going to be back here with you next Monday night. Make sure you're locked into the channel so that you can join us in the chat. We appreciate you guys driving the conversation. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio. We will catch you guys down the road.